Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump has gone 137-10, 93% success rate in terms of his primary endorsements. So 93% of the time, the person that Trump endorses wins. This is according to Ballotpedia and according to Axios. Charted Trump's endorsement success rate, and if you look here by the numbers, Trump has endorsed more candidates in 2022 than any other year. Amidst speculation, his kingmaker status is fading. It's too soon to tell how Trump's 2022 record will stack up to past years, but his candidates have won primaries 93% of the time so far. There is also, according to 538, 120 Republican nominees that Trump backed who accept Trump's viewpoints pertaining to 2 years ago. Now, you go 93%. Could you imagine if our wonderful president, mashed potato brains, was endorsing candidates right now? And I mean, I guess he is, not kind of, tacitly, but he's not out there endorsing people, okay? They want him as far... Democratic candidates for Senate or governor or representative want Biden as far away from them as possible. We have household median income down $4,000 from its high in 2019 under Trump. So you had household median income at a decade's high. It was like over $68,000. Okay? And like I mentioned this several times. I've seen recently a debate between a liberal YouTuber and Jordan Peterson, and the one of the things the liberal YouTuber said was, Trump abandoned the working class because of outsourcing. It's like, well, even if that's true, and President Obama had the issue with outsourcing also, there are more factors in addition to his last year in office when Democrats tanked their economies, so that could have factored into outsourcing. Businesses wanted to move to countries with less restrictions. That could have factored into it. But even with outsourcing, people were making more money and real wages were up. Real wages are down now. So what's the argument? That Biden is better because there's less outsourcing? I don't know if there is. There could be more outsourcing, but I'm not exactly sure. I haven't done the research on that. But so the issue of outsourcing is correlated directly to household median income, to real wages, to inflation? How does that work? So, of course, you don't want companies to outsource, and you don't want that to have happened under Trump's administration. But to say that he abandoned the working class, when working class, everyday Americans, people struggling with paychecks, were making more money with Trump, not less, more money. Okay? You were making more money with Donald Trump in office. Your money was working harder for you. You didn't have to deal with 9.1% inflation. Now, you can't blame what happened 2 years ago with Democrats, experts, media, and the adults in the room wanting to tank the economy and shut down economic activity, because it's now close to 2 years, actually over 2 years after the initial shutdown of America's economy. And Biden's policies directly caused inflation. He came in wanting to do away with fossil fuels. He stated that. He also issued a number of executive orders and policies that made it difficult for oil and gas companies to operate. Own it, Democrats. That's what you wanted. You wanted to combat climate change. Then you realized that combating climate change directly impacted inflation and caused inflation to skyrocket. And then once you had energy costs through the roof, and they say, well, oil is a global commodity. Yes, oil is a global commodity, except when you make it more difficult for oil and gas companies to operate in the U.S., then gas prices, fuel prices go up. Then you have diesel shortages. Okay, so there are things that we could do in this country that Trump would have done to lower gas prices immediately. Guess what? We didn't have those problems with Trump. We didn't even have these problems, the problems that we currently have in terms of labor shortages, steel shortages, fracking sand shortages for steel companies under President Obama. The last time oil went to record highs. Isn't that interesting? 2 Democrats and then Trump. Trump, no energy issues. Inflation at 2%. Real wages up. GDP growth. The economy was expanding. People were making more money, and people were able to buy more things with the money they made because their wages, when you take into account inflation, real wages were up. Okay, real wages are down 4.4%, and we're going to see record highs in oil, just like the record high of 147 in 2000. And it was 2000. It was end of Bush, around 2008, 2009. So it might not have been President Obama. It might have been George W. Bush, the worst president of all time. If you vote for Trump, you're not a fan of Bush or Biden. So, see, the thing is, it's like people don't understand why, a person would vote for Trump. I want a great economy. We had record low unemployment, record low Black and Latino unemployment, household median income at record highs. The income level for non-college educated citizens were at record highs also under Trump. So, what was there not to like about Trump's economy? Just because his tweets, you'd rather have a recession? We're in a recession now. And it's directly because of Biden's policies. He was sued by oil and gas associations and 14 states, and then said, well, it's their fault. And they sued him immediately, saying, hey, you can't just ban leasing on federal lands when it takes a long time to find out if there's oil. If you have a permit, you have to first, if you have a permit on a piece of federal land, you have to first, it takes a long time. There are other regulations also. And Democrats are known for making these regulations very difficult for the oil and gas industry to operate. That's the reason that the prices are so high. It's directly the fault of Democrats. We didn't have this problem with Trump. Trump wouldn't have banned leasing on federal lands, and he wouldn't have done a number of other things to cause oil and gas companies to sue his administration the way they sued Biden. Now Biden is flooding strategic petroleum reserves, about 180 million barrels, into the country, doing away with his promise of combating climate change. And then he had like this climate emergency or whatever public relations stunt the other day. The man is flooding strategic petroleum reserves because to make up for his failed policies. Now he's being sued by environmental organizations. So the question is, why was he sued? If you're going to blame oil companies and you're going to try to defend Biden's policies, just answer the following questions. Why was he sued by oil and gas associations, and why is he being sued now by environmental groups? Because his policies just simply pander. He has no vision at all. Democrats run on public relations, but that's just one example of why you want. That's just one example of why you want Trump back in office and why you want Trump candidates. The Mitt Romneys, Adam Kinzingers, Liz Cheneys of the world, Paul Ryans, they're either on their way out or they won't be in politics for long. Trump represents a more populist vision, and his populist vision actually worked. We actually had a great economy, and we had more foreign policy achievements. I don't understand how people don't see that. So they'll focus. They can't focus on the aggregate statistics because the aggregate numbers are much better under Trump than under Biden. So they'll say, oh, outsourcing. Oh, he took us out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Okay. He also reversed America's foreign policy single-handedly with the Doha Agreement that Biden botched. So I want Americans home, which liberal Democrats don't care. I mean, I've been told by many liberal Democrats, it doesn't matter what I've been told, but they don't care. Okay? They don't care. They don't care. I mean, I've tried to explain to people, this is why I'm voting for Trump. The main reason, in addition to a great economy, is that he wants to limit interventions, regime changes, never-ending counterinsurgency wars and conflicts. And he wants to do away with them. He doesn't want to engage in that regime change, endless conflict. And Democrats generally don't care about that. Like, oh, whatever. It is what it is. That's their mentality. But that's why you vote for Trump, because you don't want those endless wars. Anyway, He's 93% of his endorsements win. It's pretty stunning. He'll announce soon. Midterms are going to be amazing. House and Senate, then impeachment, then endless investigations of Democrats for actual crimes. What they're doing with Trump is they're trying to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at him because they know that they've actually engaged in crimes. They know he hasn't, but they have media. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Go to the stock market crash and nuclear confrontation.